And we're coming to you live for the Built Forward Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network. And wherever you are in the free Odyssey app. Good Friday morning. A feel-good summer Friday. The last one in June as we are heading into July. And I am declaring the Mets losing streak and this losing stretch over, as they bounce back and win the last two against the Atlanta Braves. Their most impressive victory being last night, a shutout, when, of course, they get hit with yet another injury to their pitching staff as Griffin Canning goes down with an Achilles injury. And, yes, it's going to be tough to figure out the rotation. There's a ton of injuries, but I really do believe that they will work through that, and this stretch will turn into maybe a bit of what we saw in April and May as opposed to what we saw in most of June. But here we go again with another injury, another Achilles injury, and that was all the rage on social media last night. Why is this happening? Why are there so many Achilles snapping? Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. And by the way, Al Gaylord Perry played, I think, 22 years for 8 different teams, just so you know, okay?
Yeah, so I was saying, why does he get a Giants statue?
Because he was there for 10 years.
That's also in San Francisco. They love their Gaylords there.
Got it. That makes more sense.
Okay. Anyway, watching right at the gate, man, we don't even wait.
You guys were looking for an answer. I figured that was better than any other.
I mean, it's amazing. I was like, wow, okay, it's 6:02. Let's go. Hey, it's a feel-good Friday. Why not, right?
Yeah.
Especially after a shutout win for the Mets. And the one thing I will say, number one, stop posting to me on X that I am the reason why all these Met pitchers are getting hurt. Because the last time we had a conversation about Met pitchers, a caller called in and said, I don't want Manaea, I don't want Montes, I want the guys that we have right now. They're doing such a great job. What are we going to do when all these pitchers come back? And I said, baseball has a way of just kind of straightening itself out, and things are going to happen. So it is not my fault that I pointed out the obvious when it comes to injuries when other guys are coming back. The problem is now they may be short of guys coming back to replace the guys that are now all on the injured list. And, yeah, it does look like Griffin Canning is going to be out for the rest of the year, and that's really unfortunate because I felt like he was in the midst of a bounce-back type of season. He's been a good arm. He's been a good player. He's kind of gotten his career back on track. And then all of a sudden this weird thing happens. And, by the way, he's wearing a 3/4 spike. Okay, so we can, Nick Van Exel can look at that and maybe say that maybe a high top would have helped. I don't know, but this was just a really weird deal. And look, these athletes nowadays, and because other people are posting at me, like, we didn't see these injuries way back when. And this Achilles injury is becoming just a real pain in the neck for a lot of people and a lot of teams. I just think these athletes nowadays, for the most part, are wound really, really tight. They really are. They don't have a lot of body fat. I think back in my era, guys were in shape, but we had a little girth to us, and we weren't nearly as tight as these athletes are. And there's no really way to explain this because this is not on AstroTurf. This is a pitcher, misstepping off the mound. And, it's not the basketball court because they're wearing low sneakers. No, it's just a matter of, like, these athletes in this day and age are supremely conditioned for the most part. Not all. Like, Luka Doncic, this is not happening to. Mekhi Becton, this is not happening to. Now, they may have other injuries, and they may be out of breath come the fourth quarter if they don't get themselves straightened out. But this is just a really unfortunate thing that happened.
Yeah, I mean, and this is a weird one. Obviously, we don't see it so much in baseball. It's similar to what we've seen in other sports because he is doing a quick movement to try to go somewhere in a non-contact injury, and it snaps. So I did some AI Googling about the rise in Achilles injuries and seeing, like, is it just because we're perceiving it that way, or is it actually happening? Because
what's happening?
Yeah, but like back at so Kobe tore his Achilles back in the day. Obviously, you had
tore his Achilles,
right, and then you had
Vinny Testaverde tore his Achilles.
So like this is what I'm saying. So like you're making the point. Are we just like are we more in tune to it now? And I didn't really get a great answer from AI, but it does say, while it's difficult to definitively say if there are more Achilles injuries, without specific data, reports indicate a potential increase in Achilles tendon ruptures, particularly in certain sports. And the NIH, the National Institutes of Health, noted a significant rise in NFL Achilles tendon ruptures after the 2011 lockout. So
I don't know if now, when it comes to like MetLife Stadium and the injuries over there, to me, it may be the shoes that the players are wearing.
Well, that's exactly what I got when I was on the field for that game doing my one sideline reporting job when you and Jerry and Phil were up in the booth. That's exactly what I heard from the equipment staff because I was asking about it. And the Philadelphia Eagles equipment staff actually changed the length of the spikes that they normally use on turf to something shorter for MetLife's turf because it grabs more than others. So it's a combination of both these shoes, the grabbing, and the turf.
At least the professional soccer players don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I know, as they put grass in for them, and then you got the Jets and the Giants and every other NFL team popping all sorts of knees and Achilles.
You know what other team went to grass this offseason in a
Who went to grass?
multi-million-dollar changeover? Was the University of North Carolina football team. No.
Oh.
No.
Oh, Bill Belichick?
Yeah, Bill Belichick and Mike Lombardi said, hey, we got to restore the history of the great football programs here at, what's the name of that stadium? I forget the name of that stadium. It was a beautiful stadium. It was out in the woods.
Just Google it.
All right, I will. I'm drinking my coffee right now. Why don't you Google? Why don't you do something?
On it.
Keenan something stadium, I think it used to be. Keenan something, I think.
By the way, speaking of doing something now, you never sent me a show sheet this morning. I meant to tell you that. We were talking poop cruise. I did not get a show sheet from you this morning.
Very strange.
Unless my email is screwed up, but I did not get it.
He
checked
did
several
send it
times.
out. I didn't see if you were on it. If he's
Maybe he meant to take Jerry off and took me off instead because Jerry's not here today. I did not get a show sheet today.
So anyway, yeah, North Carolina ripped up their football stadium and put grass down.
Yeah, and obviously the players love grass. Every single player loves grass in the NFL.
I'll tell you that. Yeah, I can confirm that.
Yeah.
Because I played on, the stuff that I played on in Riverfront, Three Rivers Stadium, the Vet, Old Giant Stadium. I mean, there's some of the worst fields that you could ever possibly play on. And maybe the most enjoyable field that we played on, believe it or not, that I played on anyway, that I liked playing, was Cleveland, this old municipal stadium. And it had the baseball diamond going through it.
Yeah.
And it was a sloppy mess late in the season. But I'd much rather play on that than turf.
Yeah, so
back in those days.
So, like the field has, or the court has really nothing to do with it in baseball or basketball, definitely in football. And also the Mayo Clinic said that overuse or insufficient rest between activities can contribute to Achilles tendonitis, which can lead to ruptures. So that, if you're looking for one answer, wound tight, I like that one as a reason. And also the fact that these guys train more than they've ever trained.
Yes.
And also the nature of the game in the NBA is so much more up and down,
it feels
flying around.
Right. Yeah, and when people are saying that, Magic, Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, I don't remember, they all suffered some injuries in some capacity, but I don't remember Achilles during that era. When Patrick Ewing was here in the 90s, I don't remember a rash of Achilles. There were some ACLs. There were some. There's always twisted ankles in the NBA. It's just the way it goes. The other thing too is it never really happens in hockey either.
Yeah, I mean you can understand why that is. And there's an array of injuries that happen to the hocky players. But
Does it happen a lot in soccer? Like
I don't
the
know.
MLS?
That's a good question.
Hey, Al, can you Google that for us?
I would not
Good job,
know.
Al. So Friday morning, I want to see if Al's on it today.
Yeah. Well, he's always in a good mood on Fridays. On Mondays, he comes in miserable, and then on Fridays, he comes in happy. I mean, he's very predictable. It's almost like, when you look up at the sky and you're like, it looks like rain. That's what I could see Al
That's
on his
Monday
face.
morning. That's Monday morning.
It looks like he's pissed. It looks like he's happy.
Unless something crazy happened during the weekend and he gets to be the first guy to talk about it.
Yeah, but even then,
McMonagle's been
even then, I worked with a guy in Pittsburgh who got up from his couch and popped his Achilles just from standing up from the couch, and I've been deathly afraid of that happening to me ever since I heard that story.
And by the way, when you and I were playing Bethpage Black,
Yeah.
and we were going up those hills.
I was thinking about it then, too.
Believe me, I think about it. That's why I go up sideways.
Yeah.
Because two things. I do not want to injure my plantar fasciitis, which I hadn't had to deal with in the last 4 years.
From the Good Feet store.
That's right. And the other thing, too, is that's part of the whole process, making sure you have the right shoes and you have the right insoles, inserts into your shoes. But I will say that anytime I'm on like a golf course now, my age, walking up hills, I am terrified of just the Achilles going.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I'm not a big pickleball player.
Yeah, I've stopped doing that, too, because I'm afraid of getting hurt.
I mean, I love pickleball, but I'm like, man.
I actually had fun playing it, but, I mean, and it says it right here, too, in the whole AI thing. That's why you get, like the JAG Physical Therapy that does commercials here, Dr. Gallucci who does commercials here.
Dr. Gallucci.
They're talking about the pickleball injuries because that's been the number one thing with so many people playing and injuring themselves. Here's another one. And I don't know if this actually is true or not because I like popping my Achilles is always on my mind.
Yes. Well, now why not? It's top of everybody's mind in sports.
Do you think this is so stupid?
Okay.
But I think about this. Do you think that the constant like right foot motion that I'm
driving, yes,
using when I'm driving is wearing it out?
I wouldn't doubt it. I would, if something does happen, I would not doubt it. And I know it's really hard to use cruise control when you're on the LIE because it's stop and go.
Oh, well, in the morning, occasionally I can use it. On the way home, never. But, yeah, I think about that, and I've been, back in the seat a little bit. And then after Griffin Canning's watching that again after the NBA playoffs, it's all I'm thinking about is how I'm going to be breaking, and then the Achilles is going to
pop. There's nothing worse than coming back from out east, driving 2.5 hours. Like, for me, it's like it's the outside of my calf that is like hurting, and I'm like, God damn it!
Yeah, a little sciatica too sometimes, running down the
100%.
Oh man, we sound old today, but that's fine because a lot of people are experiencing the same things in their cars. So yeah, tough for Griffin Canning, tough for the Mets. It was another one of those reclamation projects that David Stearns had gotten mostly right, even though Griffin Canning had some struggles, but. It was really good to see in a spot where the Mets didn't think they were going to have to use their bullpen as much as they did, that everybody was phenomenal out of the pen, and they ended up shutting out the Braves. And Pete Alonso, when he goes, this offense goes. There's no doubt about it. And same thing with Lindor. Soto obviously was the only guy hitting when they were losing, but man, if you get those guys or two out of those three guys going at the same time, they're going to be a hell of a lot better. And it was only Soto until like the last couple nights.
Yeah, this game should have been even worse than it was. I mean, in terms of offensive output, they're still not getting much from the bottom of the lineup. There were guys all over the base paths yesterday, but yesterday's hero for me was Austin Warren.
Yeah, and it was
who is this guy now? Where did he come from?
Yeah, I know, and it was his first win in a couple of years that he had. So. Yeah, I mean, it's, wherever you can find them at this point. We're not quite in the dog days, but we are reaching them, and you're going to get some unlikely contributors, especially with all these injuries. And this is where that Shawn Manaea injury. Now, Montas came back, and he was very good in his first start. That is a good sign. But this Manaea setback thing is a tough pill to swallow. Now
loose bodies in his elbow, man.
With, I believe it's just a singular loose body. That was 7 millimeters long, I think.
7 millimeters long, or like what do you think? It's like an inchworm or something, or do you think it's like a round pebble?
That's a good question. I don't know. I was thinking long.
But I was thinking round.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably round. But yeah, that's a tough one now with another injury. So if he was coming back and Montas was coming back, like, all right, perfect. But now, who knows? And you've predicted that we won't see Shawn Manaea at all.
And look, I don't get any great joy out of this. I'm just trying to keep Met fans up to date on the latest and, the injury aspect and realize that this is a long baseball season, that this is going to happen to every single team. And somewhere along the line, you just got to dig in and find out a way to win. And to me, Austin Warren was like the epitome of that yesterday. Here goes down. Griffin Canning's pitching a great game. Somebody get up in the pen. Let's go with Austin. All right, Austin, you're up, and go out there and do what he did. That was, that's a totally unexpected performance at that moment.
Yeah, and
And
unfortunately,
finally, it happened for our team.
that's right. And unfortunately, Dickie Lovelady is no longer around,
He may be back. You never know.
but he may be back.
I mean, the front office and David Stearns over there with these injuries and trying to bolster the bottom of the lineup and looking at trades, Jesus, it's got to be nonstop.
Yeah,
It always is nonstop. You never take anything for granted in any sport, for that matter, unless, of course, you're the Knicks and you can take everything for granted. But right now, I mean, that front office has got to be churning and burning.
and there's really not much to say about the Knicks pick other than the fact that no matter who runs this organization, they are obsessed with French guys. They are obsessed with French guys.
Yeah, well, this French guy that we got now, they're probably going to stash him over somewhere.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I said, there's no point even talking about him because he's probably never going to make an impact. And if he does, great.
But his best buddy is on the Knicks, Dadier.
Oh, yeah. So there you go.
That's a little bit of a, when he finally gets here, I think he's going to play in the summer league.
Yeah, usually those guys do, like you saw Tyler Kolek do it last year. But, I mean...
Yeah, but you know what? If you're the Knicks front office, you're saying, hey, we got all these young guys on the team. We got to develop these guys. They got to be they have to be part of the rotation unless they're going to make a trade. That would be, to me, like let's say they're going to sign Mike Brown as head coach. Let's just say that's the way they're going, okay? You got to look at where Mike Brown has been over the last 3 to 4 years and whether or not there are players there that he really liked coaching, that he could convince the Knicks front office that, hey, if you want to get return on your investment, if you have assets that you think that you can trade that are going to make your team better, here are the players that I would target because I really do think that they could be great players for the Knicks. And again, this is a ginormous if in fact, that's the way the front office wants to go here. Like, they have not sat still for 5 straight years.
No, they haven't. When you think about the long history of French guys that were drafted.
Here we go.
Frederick Weiss to Frank Ntilikina.
Hey, Eddie, get Boomer's French.
No, that's not what it was. No, it wasn't that. You were wrong.
Okay.
You don't have the instincts like I have. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Got a lot of things better than me, but the instincts are off when it comes to stuff like this. I don't know if he's going to be able to find it quick. Well, if not, CeeLo knows where it is. But the famous Frederick Weiss, when he was doing recording a liner for WFAN, and he thought the 2 6s were LO, and he said sports radio Lolo. And you add that to him being a massive bust. It was.
Oh my God!
It was great. But yeah.
Well, I mean, look,
Another French guy.
Just another French guy. Just what we need.
Well, he's from Paris, and
So what does that mean?
So
They got Parisian basketball.
I don't know.
They're known for their wine and their cheese, aren't they?
It's just funny because the Knicks settled on another Frenchman project. That's what it says in the post.
I mean, like, I would be, I don't know, maybe they'll get this one right, but I would be like, hey, let's stay away from the French guys for a while. Let's go get a German guy.
Yes.
Let's go get a Serbian.
Yeah, right.
Can we get a Serbian, for God's sake?
We went with a Latvian a couple, back with Porzingis. Yeah, I want to get a Serbian. What's another one of those countries over there that they come out of?
Lithuania.
Yeah, Lithuania.
Get a Lithuanian.
Give me a Lithuanian.
Come on now.
That would be perfect. But it's not.
No, go back to France because we've had so much success with that.
All right, it is Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.